The 5.7 Genshin Impact update came out with one of the characters I was really looking forward to. The last time I played the game was through Fontaine, which was genuinely really well written, and I thought the world was really fun to walk through and experience. The characters were all interesting, and I was still unable to pull Farina, even though she's been rerun like 3 times now. But the base game hadn't improved, so it was never able to keep me for long, and I would continuously take long breaks. It's been 5 years since I first started playing. I played in the beta and played religiously for the first year or so, but now it's time to go back to it, like a toxic ex. Has Genshin Impact improved at all in the past 5 years? I clocked in basically a whole 8-hour shift to let you know if you should give Genshin Impact a second chance, or third, or fourth. Fuck it, roll the intro. Damn, haven't seen this in a while. Let's get right into the good stuff. I think the last banner I tried pulling for is Farina, and I missed, so... Oh snap. Okay, let's go. Are you being deadass right now? Don't make me do a Genshin Impact. You know I will. Fine, let's just see if I get an early... Oh, we are so back. Now, you might not hear anything because I messed up recording things for a bit and didn't capture the audio, which you might actually see as a blessing since you don't get to listen to Paimon. I will never understand why they chose to use a high-pitched voice to constantly talk for you, because the MC's voice actor is actually really nice. But for some reason, there's like no voice acting anyway. Kaya isn't voiced in what I'm assuming is a main story quest, which turns out to be a running theme. We will get there when we get there. I need to relax, keep an open mind, and continue on. For an event story, I think it's actually really fun. It had a lot more animation than I thought it would, and the camera work isn't an affront to God, most of the time. I will spoil the story a bit, so get ready. Basically, Albedo is facing murder charges, but everyone turns out to be mimics because of the dragon in Dragonspine. We have a big battle, go through some trial that lets us turn some baby dragon into a human. Now that I say it out loud, a few things don't make a whole lot of sense, but hey, I've played worse stories. I wish they had let the mimic aspect marinate a bit more, but I was also getting really bored playing through the story, mostly because exploring sucks. Let me tell you, I've been spoiled by Wuthering Waves or really any new gacha game, because mihoyo, why the fuck does my stamina get used outside of combat? Are we being for real right now? Climbing still sucks, and it just bogged down the entire experience for me, as I tried playing through the story. Still, I really liked all the cutscenes, and Genshin still has some decent storytelling, when Paimon isn't involved. Like the part with just Albedo and Traveler, peak cinema. But I'm getting carried away. Let's talk about Skirk. Basically my whole reason for coming back to Genshin Impact. I'm not gonna lie, she feels terrible to use. I said it. First of all, I don't have Farina or Escoffier, and both of them together make her at least twice as strong. That's just dumb if you ask me. Especially because I think Escoffier isn't fun to play. So the fact that I need a character I don't really like to make a character I do like feel as good as it can be, leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Even if you can complete all of the content in the game with a fully free-to-play Skirk team, it doesn't make me feel that much better. The weapon banner is a joke. I can't imagine the fact that it used to be uncapped. Then you'd have to lose 2 50/50s for a guarantee. I know now it's only once, but in this economy, that's basically a negative. No one's excited to hear a game has a 50/50 loss on a weapon banner. Also, don't get me started on limited event weapons. Why the fuck can new players or returning players just miss out on content like that? A simple page that lets players go through old important events with those event rewards like HSR does would be so good. There's so many great event story quests that I'm sure people will never get to play. I also mention it now because one of the weapons I wanted to use for Skirk is one of those limited event weapons. So fuck me. Basically my Skirk is crippled, but it's okay. Let's try and build her. I actually think Genshin did a good job here. There are guided markers on how to get to bosses that drop materials for her, and they respawn instantly instead of waiting around for it. The bosses are also pretty cool, even though I can still run at them slamming my keyboard into my face. It almost killed me a few times though, and I like that. The talent books. It's still locked behind days, which is absurd because what the fuck? I'm not scheduling my week around you, Genshin Impact. At least for returning players, it lets you just ignore that rule, which feels really nice. Imagine that feeling for every player. Artifacts are, well, artifacts. Honestly, some games are insane with the amount of RNG rolling baked into them, and compared to that, I think artifacts aren't even that bad. Though, it's a little balanced out because of how little resin you can use if you're an active player. Also, if you're gathering those flowers for essential materials, it doesn't give you exact location for these. And I believe even if you collect them all, you won't have enough to fully ascend your character. It's not the worst system out there, since it at least tells you the general area, but there are better ones out in other games which will be a common trend in this video. One more thing I want to add before moving on is kind of the animation itself. I'm sorry to say, it's dated. The burst animation isn't great. Even the normal combat rotation isn't screaming out to me like it did before. I'm not saying it's bad, I just wish it was better. Like, I remember seeing a fan-made burst animation for Sitlali, I think, but little things like that make the game more exciting for me. Like for HSR, they're pushing animations there like crazy. Or even Wuthering Waves, really. Other games are starting to look better, even ZZZ. If Skirk had some insane animations, I think it would have been really exciting, like a new age of Genshin Impact. Now, let's get back to the story for a bit. I ended up playing through a Dainsleif questline which I low-key forgot a lot about, so I was missing a lot of lore. The set pieces looked really cool, and the story wasn't even that bad, though there were lots of times I wanted so badly to hit the skip button. I mean, most of my gameplay was spamming my spacebar, which I think it's broken now. I have no idea who the fuck this is, and I also love the fact that the hilichurls are actually people, and we don't really care about it since the game lets us kill hilichurls still. We also have probably killed so many I'm surprised the Traveler has nothing to say about it either. Or maybe I'm forgetting a lot of details. I do appreciate that Hoyo thought about the fact that there are people out there that would try to kill these hilichurls that are part of the story, and I also do love the fact that you get to talk to your sibling here. The animations are cool too. I like the glass breaking and whatnot. But this is my issue. There are really cool moments, but there are just so many small problems with the game. I think the best way to put it is death by 1,000 cuts. But finally we get to go to Natlan. I don't really have a lot of the map explored, even for Sumeru, because I don't have time for it, and I don't really care. But I can't lie, the backdrop looks stunning. But still, running my ass all the way over there is gonna be painful. Wait, are you telling me there was a fast travel spot that I could have used that's been active, and I didn't see it because the map was zoomed out? Well, let's go. The start wasn't that strong. When a new region starts, there's usually a big cutscene or an explosive start to get things going. In HSR, your ship explodes. ZZZ, you get a whole new costume. I don't play that game, so I can't attest to more of it. And in Wuthering Waves, you get attacked by a fuck-off whale before getting there. In Genshin Impact, you get some cool text and no voice acting. And you get to walk around for a bit. What the fuck? But after all that, you get started with its basic storytelling. Honestly, Act 1 of Natlan isn't all that bad. I really like the new characters, watching her grow through the tournament, and the other characters complement each other well. Even the other tribes seem nice. And I also think it's really cool you can take over these animals and use unique abilities to traverse the place. And that's where my compliments end. What the hell is Natlan? It's a mix of contrasting ideas. Like on one side you have the prehistoric vibe with the tribes and the outfits, but then they got these fuck-ass futuristic parts that are just chilling around. There isn't anything wrong with that specific aesthetic. A good example is Horizon Zero Dawn. Wait, that reminds me, they had a collab with Aloy, which is really funny now that you think about it. But yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn is a great example of that aesthetic. In that game, they do a really good job of explaining how the world got to that state. Why there's advanced tech in an otherwise low-tech civilization. But in Natlan, why do they have drills? Or surf sharks? Or literal game assets running around? Why does the Archon have a bike that's never been seen in any other parts of Teyvat? Are you telling me no other civilization saw that and was like, let's make vehicles? Like Mondstadt's still using carriages and shit. I mean, it's not like Natlan has been shut off from other nations, right? I also wish the enemies weren't just the Abyss again. Imagine if they had the open world filled with scary dinosaurs too, instead of just the cute ones. Having the Abyss send them in a fury would have been really cool to see than just cute little guys. Don't get me wrong, they're nice and all that, but let me just play the Not On trailer.
The rules of war are woven in the womb. The victors shall burn bright, while the losers must turn to ash.
The real world's got more war than Not does. I didn't really get a chance to play character side stories. I wish I did, but I just didn't want to. Skirk wasn't fun to play for me, so I didn't bother playing your story. I went into this video wanting to complete all of Natlan, but I stopped at Act 1 for one main reason: exploration. Exploration in Genshin Impact just isn't fun. I want to see how beautiful the world is, but it's so tedious in forcing the players to explore how the game wants them to explore it, which just feels restrictive. Like, I encountered this pathway which I'm assuming only Mulani can use. Do you know how stupid that is? That just made me not want to interact with that part of the world at all. Imagine if instead the traveler was given a gadget like the characters so that they too can glide on currents or drill up walls. That would have been really cool and would have made exploring that much more fun. I do like using the animals around, and you can even have some cool movement tech, if you want to call it that, but it's only for a limited time. It's just not fun for me to explore the world of Genshin Impact. And if it's fun for you, I'm happy for you. I've just been spoiled. I hate to compare it to Weather Waves, but look at this. Look how beautiful things are, and I can appreciate the world how I want to. I also can't go back to 1.0 regions for the same reason that I don't want to explore Genshin Impact. Movement being so restrictive in an open world game is stupid to me. Also, a skip button would be nice. I could go on and on about the things I want to see changed. None of the events jumped out to me. I did want to try the new permanent mode, but I'm not sure if it's even out yet. It's sad to see that I couldn't enjoy Genshin Impact again. In my eyes, if Genshin Impact came out now instead of 5 years ago, I think it wouldn't have garnered anywhere near the audience it has now. It's already been overshadowed by other games, and it'll continue to get overshadowed the more games come out. And there are already bigger names on the horizon. Maybe nothing will ever kill Genshin Impact, but newer games will slowly start taking players away from the game. Players grow up, they will experience new things, better games, and slowly all of the game's cracks will make it hard to come back to. Death by 1,000 cuts. Maybe Genshin is the only one that can kill Genshin Impact. But hey, there's nothing I'd rather see than the game have an amazing comeback for Snezhnaya. Am I hopeful? Not really, but I do really want to know what you guys think. Am I just being overly negative, or is there merit to how I feel about the game? I'll be reading through the comments and trying to reply to everyone. If you like the video, I'll bake you some cookies. And if you subscribe, I think you're really cute. And until next time, I hope to see you there.